The first major arcana card of the Akashic Tarot, the Oracle of Delphi, stands like a quiet but unshakable doorway between the known and the unknowable. Drawing its inspiration from the ancient Greek sanctuary of Delphi, where the legendary priestess known as the Pythia would deliver cryptic prophecies believed to be guided by divine intelligence, most often associated with Apollo. And this card, much like that sacred tradition, does not shout answers. It whispers them through layers of intuition, symbols, and inner knowing, asking the seeker not to look outward for validation, but inward for truth. Visually, the imagery of this card is deeply evocative, usually depicting a serene yet powerful female figure seated in a temple-like structure, often surrounded by soft golden or ethereal light, her posture calm yet alert, her gaze either slightly upward or inward, as if she is listening to something beyond the physical world. And around her, you may notice elements like scrolls, sacred geometry, columns, or mist-like energy rising, each symbol quietly reinforcing the idea that knowledge here is not learned but remembered, not spoken loudly but received subtly, and the temple itself becomes a metaphor for the human mind and soul, a place where divine communication is always available but rarely accessed because most people are too distracted by noise, doubt, and fear. The upright meaning of the Oracle of Delphi is therefore a call to awaken one's intuitive intelligence, to trust the quiet voice within that often gets buried under logic, conditioning, and external opinions. It suggests that the answers you are seeking are already present in your energetic field, waiting to be acknowledged, and that this is a time to listen more than speak, to observe more than react, to allow insight to arise naturally rather than forcing decisions out of anxiety. And in practical life, this could show up in situations where a person feels confused about a relationship, career path, or major decision, but deep down already senses the truth. This card gently but firmly nudges them to stop seeking endless advice from others and instead sit with themselves, because clarity will come not from more information, but from deeper awareness. For example, imagine someone constantly asking friends whether to leave a job, analyzing pros and cons obsessively, yet feeling a quiet inner resistance that they keep ignoring. The Oracle of Delphi appears here almost like a stern but compassionate teacher saying, "You already know. Stop pretending you don't." And when the person finally sits in silence, perhaps through meditation or simple stillness, the answer surfaces with surprising clarity, often accompanied by a sense of calm rather than excitement, because true intuition rarely screams, it settles. However, the shadow side of this card is where things become far more interesting and, frankly, a bit dangerous. Because when the energy of the Oracle of Delphi is distorted, it can manifest as confusion disguised as intuition, where a person starts believing every fleeting thought or emotional impulse to be divine guidance, leading to poor decisions, delusion, or even manipulation, either self-manipulation or being influenced by others who claim to have higher knowledge. It can also indicate a disconnection from intuition altogether, where the person has become so dependent on external validation that they no longer trust themselves, constantly second-guessing even the simplest choices. Or it may show someone who wants to hear a certain answer, and therefore twists their inner voice to match their desires, which is not intuition but projection dressed in spiritual clothing. And this is where the card becomes almost brutally honest, exposing the difference between genuine inner knowing and wishful thinking. Because real intuition feels steady, grounded, and often inconvenient, while false intuition feels dramatic,
urgent, and conveniently aligned with ego desires. Another shadow expression is the tendency to avoid action under the excuse of waiting for guidance, turning spirituality into procrastination, where the person keeps saying they are listening to their inner voice, but in reality they are avoiding responsibility and decision-making. And in such cases, this card becomes a mirror rather than a guide, forcing the seeker to confront whether they are truly connected or simply hiding behind the idea of connection. Ultimately, the Oracle of Delphi is not a gentle card despite its calm appearance. It demands honesty, stillness, and courage, because listening to oneself sounds poetic until one realizes how uncomfortable it is to face truths that cannot be argued away. And yet, for those willing to sit in that silence, this card offers something rare and powerful: a direct, unfiltered relationship with one's own inner wisdom, a reminder that long before books, teachers, or systems existed, the human being itself was designed as a living oracle.